So today I'm going to give a quick excerpt from actually the TED Talk that I gave not that long ago about personal finance. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. I want to make sure I know how to use this clicker. Okay, so the name of my talk is One Life-Changing Class That None of Us Ever Took. So I want to start by talking about how, as a personal finance expert, just learning how to do this. My favorite TV show, in all reality, is actually The Biggest Loser. How many people in this room have watched The Biggest Loser? Right? You love it. The donut binges. I like to watch it on the elliptical machine, which is particularly ridiculous. But in all honesty, what I love about this show is, if you really think about it, obesity is a massive problem here in the country. And what The Biggest Loser has really done is they've taken this real problem, this real issue that we have as a nation, and 6 million people view every single Tuesday night. And they're talking about a real problem, but in an honest way. And as someone who cares so much about personal finance and education, I really wish there was a show like The Biggest Loser for financial education. I think we can make a really big difference. So you get the tone there. When it comes to personal finance, we actually make 6 to 10 money decisions every day. It's not rocket science, just think about it. How'd you get here? What are you eating for dinner? Did you contribute to your 401k? And unfortunately, we never learn about money in schools. I went to Harvard, I went there for business school, and I literally even worked at Morgan Stanley as a trader, yet I didn't know some of the basics of my own life, like what's a credit score and why do I really care about it? And unfortunately, most of us, literally the entire country, since it's not taught in high schools and graduate programs across the United States, we learn about money through trial and error. Maybe our parents teach us a few things, maybe there was a mistake, maybe we think we know something. And unfortunately, it is this topic that is pervasive through every single person on the planet, particularly in the United States, for every day of our lives. Unfortunately, because of that, money is literally the #1 thing that young people, and I would argue even all people, worry about. Beyond that, 76% of the country feels completely out of control when it comes to money. If you really think about it, I felt out of control when it comes to money. I know everyone that I talk to money about doesn't feel really great about it. And I always joke that I should write a book called No One Feels Great About Money, because it's true and it's the final taboo. Beyond that, right now, 61% of the country is literally living paycheck to paycheck. Just think about that for 1 second. Right now, you're not sure how you're going to pay your bills at the end of the month, and know that more than half of the country feels that way. That's pretty heavy if you think about it. And so I asked myself, as I was dropping out of Harvard Business School to start my company, Learnvest, and I said, how in the hell did we get here? Candidly, how on earth did this happen? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through every year graduating out of the colleges here in the country, 1.8 million people graduate, enter the real world, and I'm going to walk you through the average norm. So meet Jessica. Jessica is 22 years old. She's going to graduate with $25,000 in college debt, if she's lucky. That's the average. $4,000 in credit card debt, and if she's one of the few people who can get a job right now, she's going to end up, hopefully, with a salary of about $35,000. Jessica's going to make 5 simple mistakes. She doesn't even know she makes them because no one's ever told her that these are real mistakes, and I'll quickly run through them. First, she's not going to have a budget. Most of us don't actually have a budget, but she won't even know the really critical principles of budgeting, like 20% of your take-home pay every month should go to the future. It should go to your retirement savings. It should go to pay down your debt. 30% gets to go to your lifestyle. And what your life costs you, those essential payments like rent, food, transportation to and from work, that should be less than 50%. And Jessica, quickly, she's going to do what we all do. She's going to get an apartment that costs her way too much. It should be about 30 to 35%. She's going to do what I almost did right when I graduated, get an apartment that costs more than 50% of what you make, and immediately put herself into jeopardy. Next, that credit card debt that she has, she's not going to pay it down immediately because everyone has debt, right? Why do I have to pay it down right now? And worse, she's going to actually miss just 1 or 2 bills. Simple bills, doesn't even know that she has a credit score, nor does she realize why it is absolutely critical for the rest of her life. She's not going to have any emergency savings. She's not even going to know that all of us should have at least 6 to 9 months of savings so that if, God forbid, we lose our job or something really rainy day happens, she's in a position where she doesn't have to use her credit card debt to get out of that situation. She's not going to negotiate her salary every single year to keep up with inflation. In fact, she's pretty scared to negotiate her salary because she's so young. She's just thankful to even have a job. And finally, retirement savings. I mean, in her mind, she's like, please, retirement is 40 years away. Why on earth would I think about retirement right now? So let's just fast forward 15 years. And again, these are the national averages. You're gonna see Jessica. She gets married. She has 2 kids, and she's gonna be in about $20,000 of credit card debt, growing at 20%. She's gonna have $10,000 in student loans still because she only paid some of them off. Her credit score, because again, she missed a few payments and started letting that debt grow, it's gonna be 570, which is considered almost subprime, and therefore she'll be in a position where she can't actually own a home. Unfortunately, 54% of the country is in the same position where they have actually less than $10,000 in their retirement account, so she's pretty much on average with that. And finally, she's gonna have no 529 plans, savings accounts for her children to go to college. So let's quickly think about this for a second. Let's just take Jessica and let's multiply her. Multiply her by hundreds. Let's multiply her by thousands. Multiply her by millions. And what you'll quickly realize is we're actually living in a nation of Jessicas. And that quickly helps you understand why we have, as a country, $2.5 trillion in debt. Why we have the dream of home ownership. Less than 25% of people are getting access to buying a home in their first try. It explains why 31% of the country is actually gonna retire with no retirement savings. And probably worse, you'll realize it's actually the #1 cause of fights in marriages, and 30% of marriages that fight about money end in divorce. So you pick your pick, but all of those are pretty bad. Worse, it's gonna domino. So Jessica and her husband are in bad shape. Her kids aren't gonna be in a position to go off to college, not in a better position than she put herself in. But worse, they're probably gonna actually have to help contribute their money to pay for her parents. And I'm sure people in this room can understand a lot of people's parents are in a lot of trouble and the money's flowing back up instead of back down. And this can continue on for a few generations. So I like to ask myself, what if we could rewind? What if we could change this gigantic national domino that's just flowing over and over again across the country? What if we could go back from the millions to the thousands? What if we could go back to Jessica and we could change a few very small things and make a massive difference in her life? And here's what they are. It's the 5 money principles that every single person graduating from college today, everyone in this room should know, because it really can make a massive difference. Simply follow a budget, understand what it really means to live beneath your means. That's the 50-20-30 principle I was talking about. Be debt-free and pay your credit cards in full. Have an emergency savings account that you can actually live on so that you never have to go into debt if something happens, because it invariably always does. Learn to negotiate your salary and save for retirement now. So let's quickly fast forward again. Let's go back to that educated Jessica, and let's just imagine what her life could have been like had she understood some basic financial principles. First, she would have been able to pay off her loans and start that amazing restaurant that she always dreamed to, because she would have the funds to be able to go out and live her dreams. She'd own a home. Her and her husband and her 2 beautiful children would actually have a place of permanency, which would be amazing because it's a place to let them grow roots in their community and to have some real stability in their lives. She looked forward to retirement, which I don't know about you guys, but when I turn 65 and my bones are brittle, I don't want to keep working, and I know no one in this room does. And most importantly, she's going to be able to send her kids off to college without student debt so that they can actually pay it forward to their next children and be in a better position than Jessica was in. Unfortunately, and I wish it weren't so, money is a lifeline. It really is. If you're sick, you're gonna want the best doctors that money can buy. If you're in love, you're gonna wanna fly across the country and you're gonna meet that person that you're in love with. And worst case scenario, you have a dream, you're gonna really wanna follow it. And so what I wanna do in my big dream is to take the 1.8 million people who graduate every single year, teach them these basic money principles, really empower them to be able to live their best lives. Not only will you have tons of Jessicas running across the country, but we'll be in a much better economic position, which will be better for every single person. It'll free up money for the government, and we'll all be in a better place. So in summary, money, it's not about rich. It's not about being rich. It's not why I started this company. It's about being able to enrich your lives. And I know I want that for me. I want that for my future children, and I want that for all of you. So thank you very much.